Benedict Cumberbatch is Sephiroth's kid. Kind of. Not really. Kind of, though. The Fifth Estate. So The Fifth Estate stars blonde Cumberbatch as the WikiLeaks guy, and it's the story of WikiLeaks and it blowing the whistle on a bunch of shit, and you're like, oh, that's intense, and it's a game changer for media and the world in general. And this is the true story as to how it happened, and it being a Hollywood-based true story means it's probably complete bullshit. We've learned that by now, though, so it's fine. We all just kind of roll with it. The problem with this movie, it's a bummer that I'm going to start out with the problem with this movie. I'm going to start out with a negative, but I just kind of have to, because the negative is the first half of this movie. It's kind of boring and slow. I get it, you need setup, but this setup lasts a long time. It's like the movie beats you over the head with the same facts. It's like, hey, blonde Cumberbatch is a really weird guy and his website is gonna change the world. And you're like, all right, cool. And the movie's like, no, you don't get it. Blonde Cumberbatch is a really weird dude and his website is gonna be a game changer. And you're like, okay, cool, all right, that's good to know. I got it the first time, but thank you. And the movie's just like, look, man. You're really not getting it. Cumberbleach is a really weird guy, and his website is gonna mess the world up in the head. And it's not just that, the setup is just a bit sloppy. You're watching the movie in complete indifference. It kind of reminded me of the movie Jobs. You remember that Steve Jobs movie that came out not too long ago that you were like, I'm interested in seeing that, and you walked out just completely like, whatever. That's what The Fifth Estate was like, and it's kind of a bummer because it's such a cool premise. It's the whole WikiLeaks thing and whistleblowing and information just going out to the world, and you're like, oh, holy shit, no one's ever done that to this degree. One of my problems with the setup of this movie is that it just didn't feel human. No one in this movie felt human. Cumberbleach felt like he was written to be like Jesse Eisenberg in The Social Network. Yeah, I'm gonna keep calling him Cumberbleach. There's no stopping this train at this point. It wasn't written to be his own character. They were like, I worked for Eisenberg in The Social Network, so we're just gonna do that. He's a socially awkward computer guy. How different can they be? None of the interactions or dialogue felt human. The thing is, the movie's completely humorless, and I don't need it to be a comedy. I'm just saying there is humor in human dialogue. When a movie has no humor whatsoever, you're either dealing with the most boring human beings on the face of the planet in which you're not interested, or the movie's just not well written in which you're not interested. But the movie's not all like that. The second half of this movie happens, and then shit gets real and it gets interesting. Really, the second half of this movie is what the trailer pitched you. You know, they get that big story just plopped in their lap and they're like, oh, holy shit, we gotta run with this. And then there's like conflict because people are like, you can't just release that information because people are going to get hurt. So there's that moral dilemma going on. It's just really interesting seeing how media has changed. And I thought that was really cool, but half of a really cool movie doesn't change the fact that this movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes of an okay movie. The movie is not completely terrible at all. Everyone in the movie did a fine job. But you feel like if this movie had a better writer and better director, the movie could have been set up in a more focused kind of way that engaged the audience. So then when shit hits the fan, people would have been interested and they would have been like, okay, I'm there and I want these people to succeed. But now as it stands, you're just watching the movie going, you know, I don't think that's Cumberbatch's real hair color. And that's not what you should be thinking about in a movie about WikiLeaks. However, I don't want to say the movie's bad because it is interesting and the premise is cool. When you walk out as indifferent as you are, you're like, I'm glad I watched it. I will say The Fifth Estate is a good time. No alcohol required at matinee price. I guess there's a level in between there that this movie hits, and it's that. All right, so what do you plan on doing to change the world or shake it to its foundation? Seriously. You have social media, you have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have YouTube. What are you gonna do with that shit? Whatever you're gonna do, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you wanna see more, click right here to see more.